All right, so today we're going to identify the vertex and the x-intercepts of each of these. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using our quadratic formula. But for our quadratic formula, I know I need a, b, and c values. So according to our equation here, my a value is -1. My b value is +10, and my c value is -9. You can see where I got the a, b, and c values. So now for the vertex, we have to identify the vertex. And I know on your solutions, on your questions, first I have a parentheses there with two values. And well, yeah, that's our vertex, x and the y value of our vertex. And then I have a big rectangle there, a big space where you guys have to type something, which you have to type in your x-intercepts. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's none. But let's take a look. Let me work this out. The vertex, the way I'm going to find out the x value of the vertex. So let me emphasize, this is the x value of my vertex. I'm going to have -b over 2 times a. So in this case, I have -10 over -2. Remember how a is -1, so 2 times a gives me -2. Now, I know negative divided by negative is positive. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So my x value is +5. That is what I'm going to write here. My x value of my vertex. Now, the way I'm going to find the y value, let me change this to red so we can see. The way we're going to find our y value, since our formula, our question here is -x² plus 10x minus 9, I'm just going to replace 5 for x. Instead of x, I'm going to write 5. So I have -5² plus 10 times 5 minus 9. Basically, I have -25 plus 50 minus 9. Well, that happens to be, what's that? Let's see, 25 plus 50 is 25, and 25 minus 9 is 16. So that's my y value. Good, I have my vertex, 5, +16. I have you guys answering two different answers, the x and the y separate, because what if we make a mistake? I want us to be able to identify, did I get the x value wrong and that's what gave me the y value? Or did I get the x right, just not the y value? So I did that to let you guys know, in case you guys don't get it right, where is your mistake? Now let's identify our zeros. Okay, I'm going to identify our zeros using our quadratic formula. I remember my quadratic formula is my x value is going to be -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. All of this is divided by 2a. The square root part, we call the discriminant, and that's the hard part, and that's exactly where I'm going to start. So I'm going to get b squared minus 4 times a times c, and then I'll get the square root of that. That's the part that I'm going to work first. So in my case, let me look at 10 squared minus 4 times a -1 times a -9. So I have 100. I know these two negative signs cancel out. So I still have that minus in between. 4 times 1 times 9 is 36. I know 100 minus 36 is 64. But remember, I have to finish this by doing the square root. The square root of 64 happens to be 8. By all means, if you need to pause the video at any time to be able to catch up on your notes, please do so. Notice all I did was b squared minus 4 times a times c. I worked it out and I even got the square root of that. The reason why I did that is because on our equation here, I have x is equal to negative b. So I'm going to write negative 10 plus or minus 8. All the square root part I already did. And I know the answer is 8. All of this is divided by negative 2. I just went 2 times negative 1, right? 2 times a value. My two answers, my two zeros are going to be, one of them is going to be negative 10 minus 8 over negative 2. And the other one's going to be negative 10 plus 8 over negative 2. That's going to give me my two zeros, my two x-intercepts. So here, negative 10 minus 8 is negative 18 divided by negative 2. I know negative divided by negative is positive. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So one of my zeros is positive 9. For the other one, negative 10 plus 8 is negative 2 divided by negative 2. I know negative divided by negative is positive, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So my zeros, my x-intercepts are 9 and 1, or 1 and 9. I want us to write it from small to large, so I'm going to ask you guys to write 1 and 9. Remember, they're words, so don't forget a space before and after the word and. That's it. We identified the vertex, we identified the x-intercept. Now, some of you guys might be thinking, this is very similar to yesterday's work. Yeah, yesterday we identified the zeros and the vertex. So obviously the vertex is going to be the vertex. Now zeros or x-intercepts is the same thing. It's a different name, but it's the same thing. So let's take a look at one more example here. My a value here is 3. My b value here is 36. My c value here is 105. So I'm going to identify my vertex first. My x value of my vertex, I remember, is negative b over 2 times a. So I'm going to go negative 36 over 6. Right? 2 times 3 give me 6. Now I know negative divided by positive is negative. 36 divided by 6 is negative 6. So my x value of my vertex is negative 6. So on my vertex, I know I've been asked for two values here. Well, the first one, the x value is negative 6. Since my equation, let me go in red, since my equation is 3x squared plus 36 times x plus 105, instead of x, let me write negative 6. So let me go 3 times negative 6 squared plus 36 times a negative 6 plus 105. Okay, so looking at the first part, I'm not doing anything to the 3 yet. I'm just going negative 6 squared. So that gives me 36. Okay, and then 3 times 36 is 108. So I'm just going to call this 108. This, in this other case, this minus sign comes to the front. And I know that 36 times 6 is 216. So I have that here, plus 105. Now, 108 minus 216 plus 105 happens to be negative 3. But use a calculator if you need to. Okay, this happens to be my y value. I know my vertex. Negative 6, negative 3. Now, I see that there's a big box because I have to identify my x-intercepts. And there's going to be two of them. Okay, so let's take a look. Remember the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, and all of this divided by 2a. That's the formula that's going to give me my two zeros, my two x-intercepts. Okay, the hard part is the square root part. So I'm just looking at b squared minus 4 times a times c. Once I figure that out, I'll get the square root of that. So I'm looking at 36 squared minus 4 times 3 times 105. No problem. 36 squared minus 4 times 3 times 105. Use a calculator if you need to. Now, I know 36 squared is 1,296 minus. Then I'm going to go 4 times 3 times 105. According to my calculator, that's 1,260. When I subtract these numbers, 1,296 minus 1,260, that's 36. And once I get the square root of that, well, it's 6. Now, why is that important? Because that is, let me switch this. That is this right here. So for me to find all of my answer here, let me switch this to dark green. So negative b, remember how it is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So I have negative 36 plus or minus 6, because we work all of that already, divided by 6, because 2 times a. So for my two zeros, one of them is going to be, let me change this to black so we don't get confused here. One of my zeros is going to be negative 36 minus 6 divided by 6. The other one's going to be negative 36 plus 6 divided by 6. Okay, so the first one, I know negative 36 minus 6 is negative 42. Negative 42 divided by 6 is negative 7. So one of my x-intercepts is negative 7. For the other one, I know negative 36 plus 6 is negative 30. And then negative 30 divided by 6 is negative 5. So I'm going to write my answer here will be negative 7 and negative 5. Don't forget your spaces before and after the word and.